Hello, everybody. This is Mark King. I'm one of the co-hosts at Pilipinx in Wellness, and I am here today at SIPA, and we are here at the conference called Healing Hope, and it's being put on by the folks of AAPIU Solidarity Conference 2025. And today what we're going to do is we're going to check in with some of the attendees here. We're just going around and having a conversation with folks to find out exactly what topics they would like to hear on the podcast. We're looking forward to connecting with these folks and learning more about what concerns them the most.
My name is Kira Kevany, and I'm with Anak Bayan Los Angeles.
And the question is, what topic would you like to hear about around emotional and mental wellness on our podcast?
Yeah, I think from the SIPA workshop today, people have been talking about what are some issues that they see in their communities and how we want to enact change around that. And one of the topics that came up was kind of like the stigma around mental health within our families. But I think something that I want to learn more about or just explore with the Filipino community is specifically the mental health and physical health of migrant Filipinos, specifically, I think. Recently, Anak Bayan Los Angeles actually helped a Filipina migrant elder who was going to be evicted because she had so much clutter in her apartment. And so she reached out to Filipino Migrant Center, and we were able to get in contact with her. And we showed up to her apartment and helped her clean. But it was really hard to just see the conditions that she was living in because she is 87 years old. She lives alone. Most of her family is back in the Philippines. And one of the biggest things that I think our migrant kababayan face abroad is really loneliness, And yeah, I think that that's something that I want to explore more, the loneliness that migrant Filipinos face because of how isolating it can be to migrate from the Philippines for different reasons, for job opportunities, education opportunities for your family, but really the ramifications of that and how it really affects our mental health and then how that's passed down to children and families.
That's awesome. Around that topic, is there anybody that comes to mind who you think would be able to speak to that?
I would like to plug Migrante USA, of course, Migrante Los Angeles, Migrant Filipino Workers Organization. Yeah, but not off the top of my head.
Okay, perfect. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. So, hi, my name is Alex. I'm here at the Healing and Hope SIPA conference with my organization, Anak Bayan Los Angeles. And one of the topics I would like to see on the podcast is the struggle for the search for community or Filipino identity among Filipino Americans. I live in LA right now, but I grew up in Michigan where there were not a lot of Filipinos, so I really had no idea about any of the resources that were available, like y'all's organization. I didn't know anything about really where my family came from, why Filipinos came to the US or were abroad in the first place. I didn't know any Tagalog. I felt disconnected from my Lola, who migrated here but was not born here. And just one of the reasons why I moved to LA was to be around more Filipino Americans and to get that sense of community that I felt like I never had growing up. It's a lot different for Filipinos that grow up in California or SoCal. They have stories about hanging out with their Filipino friends or at their, at work or their parents' work. There's a lot of just Filipinos around. But for people in the Midwest or the South or the central region of the country, we feel pretty isolated. Yeah.
Awesome.
My name is Mayana Go. I live in East LA, closer to Monterey Park. And I'm in Anak Bayan Los Angeles. We're a Filipino youth and student organization, grassroots community.org, fighting for the rights and welfare of Filipinos in the US, but all around the world, especially in the Philippines. As far as a mental health issue, I think could be addressed more through kind of the grassroots community organization and the outreach we've been doing. We've been actually talking to a lot of Filipino migrant seniors that are kind of isolated and lonely. And I think from that, there's just a broader issue where yeah, Filipinos have a tough time, even though there's so many Filipinos in LA. It's Filipinos have a tough time coming together and being able to share how they're doing, share their conditions, or yeah, just share how they're feeling really. And I would really hope to see some sort of public health effort where people actually come together and like support these individuals. I feel like there's a stigma in Filipino culture and society, like you don't want to talk too much about like what's bothering you. You want to just like put your head down, keep working hard, do what you're doing. But I think it would be really encouraging to have folks actually come together and like create like broader community networks where they could just share what's happening. I think a lot of Filipinos, I mean Filipinos in general, but Filipinos in LA, there's a lot of issues here. The wellness is under attack because of not having steady employment, the rise of rent, rise of like even goods and stuff. And I know that probably really affects folks, especially Filipino elders who can't work. So I think I would really like to hear more people talk about like that as like a public health crisis, just like the isolation of Filipino migrants when they come here. I mean, they don't have family and they're kind of just isolated to their smaller units of people. And if not that, they're like completely alone. And yeah, trying to actually help them. We were actually talking to an ate who lives in the community near in Hi-Fi actually, and she was actually going to be evicted because her apartment was too dirty. And I think it's really a sign of like instead of like wanting to like punish people for having a mental health condition because of this, like wanting to see like how can we help these people work through this, support them in actually doing the cleaning, but also addressing why it's so hard for them to like be able to take care of themselves. And there's probably like a deeper problem with mental health there, of course. So, yeah, I think I would really like to see that kind of community discussion or seeing that as like a public health crisis, like the isolation of older Filipino migrants. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for that. It's
Yeah.
great answer.
All right. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, so if you could, please give us your name, where you're from here in LA, or what organization that you are a part of, and what is the topic that you would like to hear about around mental wellness on our podcast.
Okay, yeah, my name is Isa. I am living in K-Town in Los Angeles, and I'm also a member of APAHM Los Angeles, which is a grassroots Filipino youth and student organization fighting for the rights and welfare of Filipinos at home and abroad. And a topic that I would like to hear more about is addressing like mental health and trauma in Filipino communities. I myself am a migrant. I moved here when I was 6 years old, and being separated from my family at such a young age I think had really impacted me like growing up. And I know even in like Filipino households, there's unspoken like abuse that like occurs and has like led to like a lot of like trauma and mental illness in like the future. So I think like wanting to hear more about how our communities come together to like talk about that and like destigmatizing like mental illness in like our community would be something I would like to hear more about. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. That was great.
Okay. My name is Justin Ricafort. I'm a senior United Mental Health promoter with Para Los Niños Family Services, and I am currently based in Glendale, north of Los Angeles. The topic I would love to hear more about is mental health in regard to intergenerational immigration relationships. I think that the more that I grow older as a Filipino American that was born here, the more I see there are different perspectives on how immigration and labor and relationship dynamics between families differ. That it's not my family isn't always on the same page when it comes to awareness of issues, and also in the ways they should or would want to take care of themselves. So I think those perspectives and reflections are things that I would really appreciate learning now, but also stuff that would be imperative for me when I was growing up and forming my own identity as a Filipino American.
I love that. I love that. Another question for you. Have you heard any other people talk about this topic before? Or let me add to that. Is there any specific person that you would like to hear more from?
I would love to see perspectives of Filipino workers across different fields and industries. My mother worked in the casinos in the Inland Empire. I know that there are a lot of Filipino Americans that do work there to take care of their families. They literally put me through college with that type of work. But I also know because of that, there are a lot of service workers who I would love to know their perspective on mental health and how it's arriving to them or if it's arriving to them at all. So I do tend to think that mental health is still often a privileged space, that if you receive a college degree, then you are a little bit more aware of receiving that information. But I think the folks that need to, reckon with that information the most are the ones that have the least time, which are usually the laborers and service workers in our communities.
Awesome. Justin, thank you very much for your time and for the answers that you gave.
Appreciate y'all. Thank you for being here.
Right on. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, this was a great event. Again, my name is Mark King. I'm here at SIPA with Pilipinx and Wellness. We are at the Healing Hope Youth Solidarity Conference. I gotta tell you, I'm impressed and inspired by these young adults. They put together a wonderful program, and they invited folks from Hi-Fi Kitchen and Cafe 86 to feed us. The organizations they put together and invited, obviously SIPA interns and staff were here to help out and provide their resources. LGBT Center CAN program, Anak Bayan, NAFCON was here. Obviously, as Pilipinx and Wellness, we were here. There were plenty of different workshops that these kids could take advantage of. What a great way to really let the public know, our community know what resources are available to them. These guys did a wonderful job, and again, I'm super impressed. I'm looking forward to see what happens next year and what they come up with, because they just set the bar. Completely awesome. While we were at the Healing Hope Youth Solidarity Conference, we asked some of the attendees, what are some of the ideas or topics that you would like to hear on the Pilipinx and Wellness podcast? We had some great suggestions. Some were around generational patterns. Other ideas were best communication practices or how we could best support our elders in our communities. We would like to ask the question to you guys out there. What are some ideas or topics that you would like to hear more about on the Pilipinx and Wellness podcast? If you have any ideas, suggestions, or topics, please feel free to drop that down in the comments below. We look forward to hearing from you, taking your suggestions, and talking about that on our podcast. And as we wrap up here, we just want to say thanks again for giving us a listen. My name is Mark King. I'm one of the co-hosts for Pilipinx and Wellness podcast. And as a friendly reminder, please connect with us on all our socials. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Facebook, Instagram, all the socials, and we're there. We look forward to hearing from you guys with the topics. We'll see you on the next podcast. Thanks, guys.
Hello, everyone. Magandang araw. This is Sheena Katz and Mark King, and we are the hosts of Pilipinx and Wellness, a podcast rooted in community, culture, and collective healing for the Pilipinx community.
And today we are super excited to announce something we've been dreaming up for a while. We are launching our official Patreon.
This is your invitation to ride along with us. If our episodes have ever made you feel seen, witnessed, or naintindihan, then this is your space to be part of what keeps it going.
Your support on Patreon directly funds our ability to keep creating, covering production costs, bringing on more brilliant guests, and expanding what this community can be.
We've also created some very special offerings for our members, things like exclusive bonus contents, Filipino health and wellness products, invitations to live wellness events, digital resources, and more.
Whether you're joining for $1 a month or $20, know that every contribution fuels a movement, one where Filipino wellness is visible, centered, and celebrated.
So if you've been vibing with us, learning with us, and would like to see more, come join us on Patreon. Let's strengthen this movement together.
Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat.